It sure claims to be connected. Oh, and now it is. Okay. So many shenanigans, it's so terrible. Okay, hydrate, we can probably do that. I'm back. Sometimes when tums are too big, internets become outernets. It's more like, you know, fast clocking the pipes. Oink. Okay, hydration, we can do that. Even if you say back, we're not really going to be back for long because it's getting close to the end of our time anyway. It's actually past the end of our time, but I'll wait for a stopping point at least.
Yes, I went to the clinic that day to speak to the doctor. I wanted that chart, but I failed to get it, so I went back to the clinic later. In any case, I didn't shoot him. You don't even have proof I stole that pistol, do you?
If what was in the pipes weren't so delicious, then there wouldn't be a fat skunk hog stuck in there. Oh, I mean, you know, precious, delicious internet.
And then Barat was spotted in the park at the moment of the crime. Frankly, I don't think it matters if Dr. Maractus was shot in the temple or not.
What a strange thing to mention. You went back later.
That chart was dangerous, you understand. I needed to get rid of it. That's why I went that day.
But you couldn't get the chart then, could you?
And later that night, Dr. Maractus was shot. I heard about the shooting, waited a day, but then I had to go back. No easy feat with the cops all over the place.
Ah, that was you?
Mm-hmm. Apollo, that sound. It came from behind this door.
Someone's in there. Break it. They left through that window. So you were the burglar.
That was you too? If only I had one more minute. Then I could have opened that safe and gotten the chart.
What? That's trespassing, and brazen at that. Nothing is tastier than justice. Now, if we're going to taste it.
Oh, is this a trial for trespassing now? Besides, you can't blame a girl for wanting to protect herself. They are gangsters, you know.
In any case, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination. Admitting the little crime to avoid the big one, eh? Eh? Cross-examination. Maractus Clinic 2.
Yes, I went to the clinic that day to speak to the doctor.
Why that day?
That Barat was uncontrollable. He was ready to kill. And that would bring in the police. And that chart would become evidence. And I'd be hung out to dry.
But the police didn't check the safe, did they? Well, they thought the crime scene was the park. I'll make sure the responsible parties feel the heat. Such sloppiness won't be tolerated, yeah? Kinda thankful for that sloppiness myself, actually.
I wanted that chart, but I failed to get it, so I went back to the clinic later.
Later?
When I heard what happened, well, I was too scared to do anything that day. So I waited till the day after. The 16th, was it? Of course, you and that meddling kid had to get in my way.
But why did Dr. Maractus keep that chart around? It was clearly dangerous for him. He could have burned it.
Because he's a coward. The chart was his insurance.
Insurance?
My signature on that chart, to be more specific. That made sure I couldn't betray him. In any case, I didn't shoot him. You don't even have proof I stole that pistol, do you?
But you could have stolen it.
Could have? Is this some new definition of proof?
We'll ask Waukee. He'll tell us.
Objection!
Might I remind you, this is a cross-examination. You might want to keep your baseless theories to yourself. He's right, isn't he?
And then Barat was spotted in the park at the moment of the crime.
Honk.
Hold it!
Yeah, but,
But what? You have nothing to say. This case is over. It was over the moment that Barat was seen in the park. What's the point in dragging it out any further? Frankly, I don't think it matters if Dr. Maractus was shot in the temple or not.
Hold it!
the doctor was shot in the right temple, yes?
So it seems.
Oh yeah, we have all the footprint connections. Let's review the facts again, shall we? If the killer shot from this location, the bullet would have struck our victim square in the forehead. However, the entry wound was in the right temple. Yes, we heard testimony on this yesterday. At the time of the shooting, the witness was standing here. No? Just before the gun was fired, he shouted. The victim turned his head to look and was shot.
Objection!
But that testimony was proven to be a lie. Our egregious panty snatcher, Mr. Stickler, did witness the crime, but he was standing to the north, next to the trash can where he tossed those panties. If Mr. Stickler shouted from this location, the bullet couldn't hit his right temple.
Silly, silly attorney.
What?
Do you remember what you had for breakfast that morning?
Do you remember, Trucy? I always have a glass of milk for breakfast.
What matters is one thing. The doctor was shot at his right temple. If that's the case, there can only be one explanation. The panties guy was mistaken.
Objection!
But his location was proven. You can't write that off as him being mistaken.
Objection!
He'd be mistaken about the number of people. Then why don't you show us her forehead? Show you? What? Must I explain everything? Very well, let's recap. If the witness, panties guy, was standing to the north, then where was the shooter standing? From what location did the killer shoot the victim? But wait, if the witness was standing there, how could anyone shoot the victim in the right temple? I merely laid out the facts for us. It is up to the one possessing the shiny forehead to show us. If you can, that is. Oh, sorry. If you can, that is. Lucky Kitaki was standing at the killer mark. Wesley Sticker at the witness mark. And of course, Pal Maractus was at the victim mark. Let's hear what the defense has to say. Where was the killer standing when they shot the victim? The killer mark, the witness mark, someplace else. Someplace else? As the facts stand now, we can't explain this crime without contradicting ourselves at some point. But I know why. The real killer shot from an entirely different location.
What are you talking about? I don't see any other place.
Apparently, Mr. Justice does. Let's hear it. Where in the park did the killer shoot the victim from?
Objection!
It's time to raise the roof and the stakes. You mean save?
I'll do it.
Huh? Penalties are such frightening things, don't you think? But what if they were a bit more terrifying? Ooh, big. Like so. Double penalty? A forehead which is to take us in a new direction? Then he must be ready for the challenges ahead. Challenge accepted. It's justice time.
No, the evidence does.
Are you sure, Apollo? The key's the witness, Mr. Stickler's testimony. If we believe that, and we know where he stood, and the victim turned when he shouted, there's only one place the killer could have been, inside the noodle cart. The killer shot the victim from here.
Take that!
Yes? I believe we all owe a debt of gratitude to Ms. Alita Tiala.
What do you mean?
Shooter was the noodles itself. Thanks to you, we had a chance to review the crime. And this time we were prepared. We know that Wesley Stickler was telling the truth. We should have listened to him from the beginning. Wesley Stickler was standing next to the trash can when we saw the two men. He shouted just as he told us in his testimony. And the victim turned to look in his direction. A shot was fired. The victim was hit in the right temple. Oh no. Oh yes. Which direction was his right temple facing in that moment? That's right, toward the noodle stand. Order, order, order. So you're saying the killer was inside the noodle stand?
Objection!
Let's think about this a bit more, shall we? You say the killer was inside the noodle stand, which would mean the victim, Dr. Maractus, came to the park, wheeling his own murderer in the cart behind him. Full of noodles, TF? Oh no.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I think you'd notice if you were pulling someone along.
Objection!
There's something we should worry about before that. Why was he pulling the noodle stand in the first place?
Objection!
Let's deal with our problems one at a time, shall we? Someone was hiding in the stand. We have not come this far to talk about possibilities. Let's talk about proof, baby. Show us evidence that proves someone was in that stand. Can I prove that? Do you want evidence that someone was in that stand? I mean, we have the slippers, but outside of the shot itself? That's, like, how do I show it? Let's see here. Maybe I don't have it. Yeah, okay, probably the slippers. Oh. Possibly. I've got it right here. Intriguing. Let's see what you've got. Show us proof that someone was hiding in the noodle stand.
Take that!
The Maractus Clinic. And they're covered with paint. These slippers were found in a trash can near the crime scene. And a single slipper print was found at the scene. Right next to the noodle stand. Oh, and Miss Tiala, your toe print was found in the left slipper. In other words, this is proof you were inside that noodle stand.
Objection!
Yet there was only one slipper mark found at the scene. Can this be called a footprint in good faith?
Objection!
Observe the diagram. A park pathway runs right next to the slipper mark. A slipper wouldn't leave a trace on a cobblestone path.
Objection!
Yet you still cannot say this is a footprint, yeah? Why not? You have an impression left by a single slipper. What if it was on the stand and simply fell to the ground?
Objection!
That's just dumb. One more thing. A noodle stand is typically cluttered with the tools of the noodle-making trade. There's no room for a person to ride in there. You have a point. Could someone have hidden in a stand? Apollo, I think I might be onto something. I think I figured out one of our pieces of evidence. In order to make room in the stand, some things would have to be... Yeah, all those bowls and stuff inside the clinic. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have proof that someone could have hidden in the stand? I can prove one thing. Someone did scheme to clear space in that stand. Noodle bowls.
Take that!
This is a noodle bowl from the stolen Eldun's noodle stand. Yes, and what about it? Really using a noodle. We discovered a large quantity of these bowls yesterday. In the lobby of the Maractus Clinic. A large quantity of noodle bowls in the victim's clinic. Mr. Eldun was very clear about those bowls. Well, I don't care who did it. Without that stand, I'm finished. All my noodle bowls were in there too. Yet the bowls were removed. That night, there was space inside that noodle stand. Space created at the Maractus Clinic, no less. Right around the time that you were there, Miss Alita Tiala. Bold of you to claim.
Stop! I won't listen to any more of these wild fantasies. No, not fantasies. They're worse lies than that spoiled brat's pickup lines.
I would like to remind the witness of her current status. This court does not consider you entirely innocent.
Show me an innocent, I'll show you a fairy tale.
Is she holding a four-leaf clover? I don't think so. Let's see when we see her. In any case, the defense has somehow made its point. Actually, can we see it from here? No, it does not show her detail. The defense has somehow made its point. The witness had both a motive and an opportunity to kill Dr. Maractus. I think it's part of her costume. I think that's a four-leaf clover with the wings behind it. I don't know. Yeah, the witness had both a motive and an opportunity to kill Dr. Maractus.
More fairy tales. This whole trial was a fairy tale.
Then please pull us back down to reality, Ms. Tiala. I'm giving you one last chance to explain yourself. This is it. Why was Dr. Maractus pulling that stand that night? And what was Alita Tiala doing inside it? Time to get to the bottom of this case. Witness testimony. Oh boy. Tiala's explanation.
That night, I went to ask Dr. Maractus for the chart. I had no intention of ever letting that chart fall into the Kitaki family's hands. But Dr. Maractus didn't understand. For some reason, he thought the Kitakis had sent me. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him.
Okay, you knew about the botched operation. So you tried to get rid of the chart to save yourself?
I won't make excuses. And I did warn the good doctor. I gave him a chance. I told him that brat got his health checkup report. And that he was coming to settle a score.
I see. Very well, Mr. Justice, begin your cross-examination. Okay, yes, Your Honor. This is the last testimony. I don't know how close to the actual end of the bark I am. Like, it's only like halfway down this page. Oh, good heck. We'll go a little bit longer, but if we go past, like, half past the hour. We'll have to call it because I got work in the morning. All right, this is the last testimony. Either I perceive the truth or it's over. She looks like a card captor. Oh, yeah. Cross-examination. Diala's explanation.
That night, I went to ask Dr. Maractus for the chart.
Okay, I do see that is.
I had no intention of ever letting...
Hold on just a second here. Okay, so we want to perceive this. What can we perceive? Is she doing it again? You didn't go to ask for the chart, did you? And to ask Dr. Maractus for the chart. Here again. It wasn't that night. Maybe. Okay, could she be doing any other kind of... Are there other things we might, perceive? Is she gonna have other... responses? Heck. I mean, I guess we should probably press on these things. Get an idea of what she's gonna say.
That night, I went to...
Can we perceive that she's a noodle disrespecter?
Went to ask Dr. Maractus for the chart.
Hold it!
So, you did go to steal that chart?
Were you listening? I said I asked him for it.
The victim was a man in good health. I don't see how she could have coerced him. True, it would have been impossible without a pistol. What if she did have a pistol?
I'll admit I wanted the chart. That much is true. My reason was simple. I had no intention of ever letting that chart fall into the Kentucky family's hands.
Hold it!
It certainly would have put a damper on your wedding plans, I'd say.
Not only that, if the Kentuckys had gotten that chart, I'd probably be with Dr. Maractus now, pulling that great noodle stand in the sky.
It seems our witness was in a fix as well.
Who would want to die pulling a noodle stand?
When I die, it will be by disappearing mysteriously in the middle of a magic act. Could we be a little less morbid, please?
So you see, I needed that chart. But Dr. Maractus didn't understand.
Didn't understand? You didn't understand?
He wouldn't listen to a word I was saying. The moment he saw me, he started to tremble. Ha! I thought, what a sad excuse for a man.
Please don't smile like that anymore. It's creepy.
He was practically delusional.
Really?
For some reason, he thought the Kentuckys had sent me.
Hold it!
They sent you?
He thought the Kentuckys had sent me to get the chart.
It makes some sense. You are their son's fiancé.
Don't make me laugh. The Kentuckys send me? They don't play that way. If they'd known about that chart, they would have gone in there with guns blazing. But I couldn't convince the trembling doctor otherwise. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him.
Okay, that's clearly a shenanigan. I don't even have to guess.
Hold it!
But if that was really all that happened, what were all those noodles bowls doing there?
How should I know? There weren't any bowls when I went. I know that much. Why don't you let me be and go look for your killer someplace else, alright?
Do I detect uncertainty there? I don't know, do you? This is my last chance. Apollo, any word from your bracelet? Yeah, actually. felt it respond. I couldn't see a thing. It's up to you, Apollo. Time to perceive the truth. Here comes justice! Okay, so I think it was at the last segment. Oh. Okay. Trying to determine what, if it changes in its glowiness. Okay, so this has something to do with your fingers. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him.
Gotcha!
All I did was talk and lie.
What? Show me proof.
I'm pretty sure about this one. I think I'm getting the hang of this. A little slip in confidence, and they give it all away. The proof is you, Miss Tiala.
Hmm?
All I did was talk to him, you claim? Yet you can't hide your own nervous twitch when you say those words. All I did was eat hot chip and lie.
My Twitch? What are you talking about?
It's twitch.tv/Muskwalker. It's where you go. You have a habit of scratching the area of your neck around the edge of your scarf.
What? What?
This is working better than I'd hoped. You gotta stop telling them about their things, because then they'll backtrack. Her unconscious actions tell the truth she won't say. Habits and lies. 2 dots. Connect the dots and find the truth.
Don't look at me like that. I told you the truth.
It seems that when you recall what really happened in that office, you can't keep your hands off your neck, can you? It seems that nervous habits, our unconscious reactions that manifest when someone's trying to hide something. No. You can't hide behind your scarf, Miss Tiala. Something happened between you and the victim in the Maractus Clinic office. And I've got proof that shows exactly what happened. Okay, so we're saying what? Something happened between you and the victim. Is that the bullet now? Or is it the lamp? I think this is where the lamp comes in. Yeah.
Take that!
What's that?
Lamp.
You're touching your scarf again. There's something unusual about this lamp. The bulb was broken, and there's a red splotch on the cord.
Eh?
Seeing how you hide your neck, I think I could come up with a plausible explanation for the lamp's state.
Well, spit it out. This talking in circles nonsense is killing me.
Very well. The answer is very simple. Ms. Alita Tiala, please remove your scarf.
Oh
Oh dear.
Objection!
This is a trial to determine what happened in that park. Yet we seem to have drifted off target.
Objection!
We'll find out soon enough if we're drifting, as soon as the witness removes her scarf.
I won't do it. This is insane. I'm a unrelated third party. You can't order me to remove my clothing.
Ms. Tiala, I'm afraid you've forgotten what's already been proven.
What?
You're hardly unrelated. Please remove your scarf.
No. No.
I knew it. So I was right, wasn't I, Ms. Alita Tiala? Your neck. That isn't what I think it is. Something did happen that night at the Maractus Clinic. You needed to get that chart back no matter what it took. Even if you had to steal your fiancé's pistol to do it. Kinky? No. but wait. Looking at this lamp and the witness's neck, it looks like the very opposite happened. Exactly. The victim in the clinic that night was this witness. Specifically, you tried to threaten Dr. Maractus and he attacked you. That's what happened that night at the Maractus clinic. She forgot the safe word. Oh. Order, order, order. Will someone please tell me what really happened?
I told you the truth already. I went to the clinic that night to warn Dr. Maractus.
Warn him gently with a gun.
That gangster knows everything. He's coming for you.
She only remember the first 12 E's. Looks like Michael didn't see this last patient.
We have to get rid of that chart. Quick, open your safe. Give it to me.
So you could save your own skin?
What?
I know what you're up to. You want in with a family. And if they see that chart, you're finished.
Aw.
Leaving me holding the short straw. But if I'm going down, I'll want some company. You. What happened next?
He jumped at me and knocked me to the floor. Then he took that cord. Hal Maractus was serious, deadly serious. He really tried to strangle me. I must have blacked out.
Oh. So she was being carted off in the noodle stand. So you were the victim. And the red splotch on the cord was your lipstick. I said it was lipstick.
I didn't want to remember that night. That's why I didn't bring it up. There, are you happy now?
Very happy. I mean, not for your bark, but again. So yeah, if she was knocked out, and Maractus was now trying to hide the evidence of her by carting her off in a noodle stand, and then she wakes up, still has the gun for some reason? I don't know. Bark.
I was out cold, almost killed. And you claim I then snuck into that noodle stand? But how could I?
Well, one thing is clear. We now know what really happened at the Maractus clinic. And it would seem that our victim was not entirely without blame himself.
I'm sorry. I get so nervous just thinking of it, it's hard to breathe. I've told you everything. Can I go home now?
You bear some responsibility for events that day, true. Yet if you were also a victim, this court would owe you some sympathy. Well, Mr. Justice, I believe this clears up the remaining questions for Ms. Tiala. When did this happen? Suddenly everyone's sympathizing with her. I don't know what to think anymore, Apollo. I mean, is that it? Do we know everything we need to know about Ms. Tiala? Very well. This finishes the cross-examination of this.
Objection!
Not so fast. This party's just getting started. Now we rock. What? Those spikes on your head are softer than they look. Or do you not have the stomach to go all the way? Prosecutor Gavin. Hal Maractus choked Alita Tiala. She fell unconscious. But what happened next? He's right, there is more we don't know. But she was choked hard enough to leave that mark. She would have been out for a while. Even still, what if it was her in that noodle stand? Alita Tiala, half dead, Dr. Maractus pulling that stand? and a bullet fired from inside the noodle stand. What if it's all true? We might have already figured out what truly happened that night. Miss Alita Tiala, as you can see, we're not through with you just yet.
You really want to blame me for this murder, don't you? You too, Prosecutor Gavin.
Me? Fräulein, I only wish to know the truth. Well, let's go back over what we learned up until now. On the day of the murder, Walkie saw his checkup report, from which he learned about the bullet still inside it. So he took a pistol from the family stash, with the intent to give Dr. Maractus some of his own medicine. And Miss Tiala heard about this from Walkie, so she went to the Maractus clinic ahead of him, in order to get rid of the chart with her signature. But then, something happened.
Sounds like you figured it all out. But remember, I was the victim. I was out cold.
But what about Dr. Maractus? That does seem to be the problem. He had just strangled Alita Tiala, perhaps he thought to death. What did he do after his crime?
I was just knocked out, not dead.
From the state of clinic and the scene in the park, I think it's clear what the good doctor did next. Well, Herr Forehead, care to guess? Well, Mr. Justice, what did Dr. Maractus do? Maybe he did think he killed Alita Tiala. Do I have evidence to show what he did next? What he did next? Well, it's the noodle card, right? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Take that!
As his next move, Dr. Maractus stole Guy Eldoon's noodle stand.
What? Killing me disturbed him that much? So much he randomly stole a noodle stand?
It wasn't so random. Remember all the bowls in the clinic's foyer? Bowls that belonged inside that stand? I think it's pretty obvious, don't you? That stand was at the clinic. However, the question is, why did he remove the bowls? Maybe because the stand was heavy? Or he wanted to put something in the stand in their place? Ah. Wait, you don't mean... I do. Dr. Maractus did replace those bowls with something. Your corpse, Miss Tiala.
My corpse?
Dr. Maractus panicked. He thought he'd killed you. His next move would be to dispose of the body.
That's crazy talk. You're all crazy.
Objection!
Then let's think about it, logically. The doctor had a place to dispose of you in mind. But on his way there, who should he run into but the defendant, Walkie Kitaki?
Objection!
I question your logic. What's this, Prosecutor Gavin? The park is a dead end. Why would he head in that direction to begin with?
That's right. He had no reason to go there. Oh, now I get it. It was a trick. That spoiled Barat made him do it. He made the doctor steal the stand.
Objection!
Tell me, why would someone go to a dead end? Unless the park was his destination.
What?
Apparently the defense has an idea. Tell us where Dr. Maractus was heading with the stand. The river? Here, please show us on this diagram. Where exactly was the victim dragging that stand? Okay, this is a river, right? As I recall...
Take that!
There, that's a river. Yes, Your Honor. I scarcely need to explain why. The perfect place to dispose of a body.
He was gonna throw me into that river?
He didn't have many other options, Fräulein.
Oh,
I believe this clears up all the remaining questions. The victim pulling the stand, and the defendant before him. And inside the stand, you, Ms. Alita Tiala.
ah,
And then the denouement. Wesley Stickler, of panty snatching fame, walks up. Seeing the two men, he shouts, in that instant, yeah, that's exactly how the doodle stand opens up.
so I shot him?
You were the only one who could have stolen Walkie's pistol. It had to be you. Well, Miss Tiala?
Oh, nice work.
You mean I'm right?
I mean, you've done a fine job dreaming up a story. To get that spoiled brat off the hook.
You're the one who's dreaming. Apollo's backed up everything he said with facts. If you're so sure he's making it up, give us another reason. Why was Dr. Marak just pulling that stand through the park?
Who knows? But there's one gaping hole in your logic. I think Mr. Gavin knows whereof I speak.
Where of what? Can't believe she's still trying to deny this. Is this true, Prosecutor Gavin? Must I always be the one to point out Hale Forehead's errors? Maybe there really is something. I believe the fly line speaks of Hair Doctor's car. His car?
That's right. The Maractus Clinic has that big garage.
In which sat a green sports car, was it?
Why would he steal the stand in the first place? If he wanted to carry a body, he would have used his car.
Ah! And so we find our victim without probable cause to steal that stand. Okay, so he tried the car, and then he almost hit Phoenix Wright, and he figured he should probably not be using the car. And a defense without a case. I have an idea. You know that green car? I bet it wouldn't run. It was broken. Oh, right, panties in the tailpipe. Ah, what an excellent counter-argument, Fräulein. Too bad you're quite wrong. Huh? Don't tell me you've forgotten what happened to your daddy. Daddy? That's right. That night, the car that hit Mr. Wright. Was that green sports car? Oh, yes, I'd nearly forgotten about it. Afterward, he drove it back to the garage. It ran fine.
That's right. So why didn't he use his beloved sports car,
A glaring contradiction, to be sure. More glaring than your forehead. No! No! Order, order, order. Well, Mr. Justice, why didn't Maractus use his car to carry the body? Is that a groan of surrender I hear? Some advice. Now's a good time to review all you know. Everything you've learned over the last 2 days. Everything I've learned. Mr. Justice, this contradiction casts doubt on your entire case. This is truly your last chance. The defense will explain to us what happened that night. The car didn't run. I have an idea. It's all coming together. That night, Dr. Maractus couldn't use his car.
Huh. Now you're making even less sense than usual.
According to my information, Ms. Tiala, put one and one together, and the explanation is simple. If it's so simple, perhaps you can show us some evidence? Show us proof why the car wouldn't run that night. Panties.
Take that!
Let's see now. Panties. Again. All sorts of things come out of my panties. Even the truth.
Huh?
Another another crime was committed the night of the murder. The theft of these panties. The latest in a string of similar thefts, actually. But that night, the snatcher was caught in the act. A brave young girl chased the thief until he hid. In the Maractus Clinic garage.
What?
The snatcher hid the panties there before running. Perhaps someone in his court remembers where he hid them. Why, weren't they found in the car's exhaust pipe? Exactly. By the way, I learned something yesterday. A very important piece of information. And I learned it from you, Prosecutor Gavin. So you're here investigating? And I was on my way home when my hog gave up the ghost. Your hog? My motorcycle won't start. A clogged exhaust pipe. Too bad. It looks like such a nice bike, too. Hard to believe that it could break just from that. Cars, motorbikes, they're all the same. Clog the exhaust and they won't run.
My, how interesting.
While Miss Tiala and the doctor were struggling, the panty snatcher snuck into the Maractus garage. From that time until the time we found these, that car wouldn't start.
What?
That's why Dr. Maractus had to use the noodle stand. It was the next closest thing he could think of. Well, Miss Tiala? This wraps your doubts up quite nicely, I think.
So it does. Where? Where am I? So dark, can't see, cramped. The pain, my throat's burning.
What's your problem?
You, Doc, I know what you did. Wacky?
Hey, you lied to me.
So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you a taste of your own medicine, man.
Wait, let me explain.
Fine, I'll give you your last request.
Listen, you're being tricked, but not how you think. It's not just me.
No! He'll ruin everything. I have to stop him.
Jesus, it wants you to.
Funny, this isn't the way it was supposed to turn out. Oh well, too bad.
There's still one mystery. How did you manage to disappear from that stand?
In the silence after the shot, I heard the witness running.
I believe we heard as much from Wesley Stickler. He went to use a public phone to inform the police.
Which is when I made my escape.
Which is when you left that slipper print.
Dr. Maractus didn't bother taking my slippers off. I threw them out after I stepped in that paint, though.
That was your mistake.
No, my biggest mistake was coming to you for help, Mr. Justice.
Huh?
I believed in you. You and your anything agency. If anyone would get Wacky declared guilty, it was you.
You had no faith in me. I believe we reached a conclusion of sorts. Prosecutor Gavin, how is Ms. Alita Tiala doing? She's confessed to everything. We're processing her arrest now. Prosecutor Gavin sure seems calm for someone who just lost. I think he already knew. He figured out she was the killer a while ago. Some advice. Now's a good time to review while you know everything you've learned over the last 2 days. You lost. I didn't exactly win either. Something the matter, Hale Forehead? Looks like it's time to announce a verdict. Not guilty. Woo! Hey! Court is adjourned. Okay. We can wrap this up. June 17, 4:12 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2.
Great job, Apollo. You did it.
Yeah, we did, somehow.
Walkie's off the hook. Free to become the gangster he's always wanted to be. And he has you to thank.
Hey, attorney man.
You're gonna pay for what you did to my Alita, Holmes. Or to blame, I guess. You give my Alita back. Stupid pointy-head attorney with a death wish. Enough, Wacky.
Oh, enough, Wacky. Ah, Mr. Kitaki. It's high time you opened your eyes, Wacky.
What do you know, old man? I think it's about time you open yours. Giving up life, trying to become some kind of businessman.
Don't talk about what you don't understand, Wacky. I'm afraid the guard is going to throw them both out. If not in jail, wouldn't that be a happy ending?
Hey, maybe we can help them out. We know why Mr. Kitaki needs to make so much money. Maybe we should tell Wacky.
Do we? Oh.
Oh, Wacky. Apollo has something to tell you.
Huh? I do? Way to put me on the spot. Is he trying to pay for the operation?
Huh? What's that? Show him the reason why, Apollo.
Why is Mr. Kitaki trying to become a businessman? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the checkup report.
Take that!
Think about it, Wacky. Think about your condition. I talked with your mother, Lil Plum, yesterday.
It pays, but we need a lot of money right now. Clean money, that is. She doesn't mean you aren't really, are you?
I searched the globe, and I found one. A doctor who could take that bullet out of you, Wacky. But it's an expensive procedure.
Man, but you got plenty of money already, don't you?
I won't use it. It was the gangster life that did this to you, Wacky. I want to help you, and I want to do it clean. Please understand, Wacky.
Dad? Man, I see how it is, old man. Always you looking out for
Wacky?
Listen good, old man. One day, I'm gonna take you out, and we'll see who's the OG. You try to hide in your business suit, I'll find you. Stupid old geezer.
He grew wise.
He grew eyes. My, Wacky. No, it's as it should be. Mr. Kitaki, I liked it more without the puppy dog eyes. Yeah, he's cute. I'm glad to have met you. I'm not so good with words, but I know a professional job when I see one. Thank you. Who, me? I don't think. Someday, I'll bake you one of our latest, the Kentucky Lime Pie. He's opening a pie shop? So long. And he was gone.
Well, let's head back, Apollo. To the Right Anything Agency.
Hey, since when do I work at your agency?
Aw, we make a good team. Don't just stand there. Let's get going.
Why not? She did help me out. And there's a few questions that still need answers. Like this power of mine that she showed me. And my bracelet. If anyone can help me figure it out, it's her. But I can't say I care much for what her father's become.
Oh, that's right. We have to go someplace first.
Huh? Where?
Why, to claim our reward from Mr. Eldoon.
Ah, salty noodles. Right. You gotta stand back already?
Oh, and after that, you can come see my show. With a special appearance by the amazing Mr. Hat.
Oh, it's special, all right. Please, anything but him. End.
End. It is the end.
Turnabout Corner awarded. All right, we are done with that. Ooh, heckin' cakes. Okay, so we're gonna leave that for here. That is the end of. That is well and more of all the time that we had. All right.